All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Divorce with Respect Week. We're here through the Collaborative Divorce Group. I'm the co-president, attorney Allenston Sheridan Jr. My law office is at Diana Conti and Tanilla in Manchester, and we're here to talk about collaborative divorce. The collaborative divorce is especially important during this week because the way that this process works is that you go through this process amicably with a team approach. We have three parts of a triangle. We have the attorneys, we have the mental health professionals, and we have the financial neutrals. And every case involves legal issues, emotional issues, and financial issues. And so that's the primary purpose of having this team approach. And that's what will help get people through this tough process. And so we have members of each team here to speak today from the Connecticut Collaborative Divorce Group. We have Donna Buttler. If you can just briefly introduce yourself.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the group. Glad you were able to join us. I'm Donna Buttler. I have a small practice in divorce in Avon, Connecticut, the law offices of Donna Buttler. I've been doing collaborative divorce since 2001, and I heartily endorse it.
All right, thank you. All right, we have Laura. If you can just briefly introduce yourself.
Sure, thank you, Al. It's a pleasure to be here. Good evening, everyone. My name is Laura Renfro. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist, and one of my role in working in collaborative divorce is that of being a mental health neutral. I have a private practice in West Hartford, and I look forward to talking with you about it this evening.
Thank you, Laura. All right, Sophie, if we can hear from you.
You're Laura. That's what you told me.
Hi, my name is Sophie Helenek. I'm the founder and owner of the Financial Sherpa. I am a wealth advisor and a divorce consultant.
All right, thank you. All right, Bob, if we can hear from you.
I'm Robert Freed. I have offices in Hartford and Middletown, and I love the collaborative process. It's a very unusual way to help people as opposed to litigate, and I'll be speaking more about that shortly.
All right, so the purpose of tonight is to really have a session to educate the public about collaborative divorce. And so we're just going to ask a series of questions to our panelists here, just to kind of educate the public and help them understand about collaborative, because not a ton of people know about it. And so we'll just jump right in. So how does the collaborative divorce differ from mediation and litigation? If I can have one of the attorneys respond to that.
All right, Ali, it's really an easy question that requires a bit of a lengthy answer. Anyone who chooses alternative dispute resolution as opposed to litigation, as opposed to contested hearings, is already ahead of the game. I've had litigated cases where the tensions are so high that by the end of the case, the parties aren't talking. I had one of those cases once where 2 years afterwards, my client calls me, tells me that his daughter's getting married next month, and he and mom can't be in the same room. I'm sorry, Dad, you can't come to the wedding. That's devastating stuff. I tell that to everybody because I want them to understand before they begin what they're getting into. We're also in a post-COVID, hopefully post-COVID era, where we still have a huge backlog of cases. If you go the traditional approach, you could be a year to possibly as much as 2 years before you get your case heard. About 97% of divorce cases get settled before a final hearing. So why not spend your time trying to negotiate rather than litigate? The traditional process is often referred to as the litigation model. People start at diametrically opposite positions and slowly work back toward a final divorce. We see the harm that results from proceeding in this manner. Everyone knows about the Smiths down the street, who's having the affair, who's on drugs, who's at the casino. All right. Those people would have the same baggage coming into the collaborative meeting room. The difference is the privacy. The difference is that the professionals who are working with you are now being part of the solution rather than part of the problem. It's a very different atmosphere. In mediation and collaborative cases, there's a much greater focus on amicably resolving divorce cases and determining what is truly in the best interests of the children. In addition, the parties meet with a single professional, the mediator. A mediator is a facilitator who helps two people who don't have agreements reach agreements. A mediator is going to recommend that each party have review counsel to talk to outside the meeting room. But a mediator is not going to say, hey, this is what you should do. That's arbitration. That's not mediation. Now, my personal favorite, without any doubt, and I do mediation, my personal favorite is the collaborative process. I believe probably 85% of divorcing parties would be best served with the collaborative process. Now, I made up the number. I don't know where it came. I just made it up. The point is, a great majority of people would prefer negotiating rather than litigating. As you heard, this is Divorce with Respect Week in Connecticut. It's the first time we're doing this. We've always referred to the collaborative process as divorce with respect, divorce with dignity. The foundation to collaborative divorce, we all sign a participation agreement. We're not going to court. We're not going to threaten to go to court. We're going to sit in a conference room or remotely using Zoom, and we're going to work out your problems together. This is a gentler, kinder way to go through the divorce process. We have attorneys, mental health professionals, and financial professionals who have had specialized training, and we're here to help you. In the collaborative process, we talk about what is important to you. What are the options to resolve your issues? What's bothering you? How do we talk about it? How do we resolve it? In a collaborative case, I'm looking to help people during a very difficult period with compassion, with respect, with dignity. If you have any questions tonight, you can give us a call and we'd be glad to answer them for you. And if not tonight, please feel free to call any of the collaborative professionals in your area and ask them to explain why collaborative divorce is the best choice for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. So I heard a little bit of what you're saying about these professionals have specialized training. We have the attorneys, we have the mental health professionals, we have the financial neutrals. It sounds like it could be expensive. And I think that's what some people worry about. How can we keep the process from becoming super expensive? If I can hear from Donna, the other attorney.
Thank you, Al. It does on its face look like it could be very expensive. All of a sudden, you're not paying just for your attorney, you're paying for everybody else in the room. In my experience, however, it's everybody else in the room that makes the divorce go quicker. So instead of having the two attorneys do battle, we have, and instead of having the attorneys have to handle the other crises such as the emotional and the financial, we have the experts doing that directly. And that saves a lot of time. When I work with my clients and they're concerned about this, I explain to them what a day in court looks like. And I start with a day in court will cost you at least $3,000 for one day in court. And we might only be seen by a judge or a social worker for 20 minutes of that. You pay me for bench time, for sitting next to you and waiting your turn. And instead, in a collaborative divorce, we have a meeting. We set a meeting for 1 o'clock. By 1:05, we're settled and we're already talking. There's no bench time. So you can do a lot of, say, 2-hour meetings in that for that same price of $3,000. I also want all of you to understand that you are the ultimate controllers of how much your divorce is going to cost. If you are prepared for the meetings, your attorneys and the other team members will give you homework, and you finish your homework and you bring it and you present it. And so that we are all knowledgeable about the finances, which we'll have to do some review, or we are knowledgeable about the issues concerning you as parents, and we're ready to walk into the meetings and to really talk and discuss them. That will save you a tremendous amount of time, because you don't have to sit there, exchange information in the meeting and teach everybody about what's going on. The other thing that is incredibly helpful is in the goal setting. So Bob mentioned some of that we work towards your goals and we work to resolve the issues that are raised by your goals. When people think about divorce, they often think about the emotions, the difficulties, and they're somewhat frozen in that situation of the divorce, in that aspect of it. The more that we can get you to think about the future, to set your goals, to set those goals and be reasonable so that we can all work together to meet them. It will not only make the divorce process go smoother, every time you say smoother, think less money. It'll make the divorce process go smoother, and you'll be much happier with the outcome, because the outcome is setting you up for your future. It's not just carving a piece out, it's actually getting you launched to go on with your life. So the more that the clients can cover those two areas, your homework and your goals, the better off you'll be. Your team will also help you with the finances. First thing we often do is we talk about how we're going to pay for the divorce. When you're litigating, you're not doing that. You're coming up with the money, you're going to your parents, you're entering your 401k, you're doing whatever you can, because you're not going to get a court date for months, so you're not going to get the fees out of the other spouse. So one of the first things we do is, how are we going to cover all these expenses? The second thing that the team can do is we're going to talk about limiting those large group sessions. The large group sessions have all the team players. They have the attorneys, they have the MHP, they have the financial advisor. We're going to limit those for you. We're going to work with you individually and get you really ready so that when we go into those sessions, those large group sessions, to maximize their usage, we're going to know what the issue is, and we're going to be ready to start developing options and to finalize it. We're not going to sit there and discuss all the things that you agree on. We're going to get right to the heart of the matter. So, and the final thing I would say is the need for transparency. Absolutely, ultimately, most fundamental part of collaborative divorce is that everything is laid out on the table. Everybody knows everybody else's goals. Everybody knows what the finances are. Everybody knows what your parental concerns are. If you are ready to be that open with the help of the team members, we can get you through those large group sessions quickly, efficiently, and all of that saves you money. Anything else, Bob, you can think of?
Besides saying I agree with you 100%.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I like to say it a little differently to clients. I say the coach, the mental health professional, will always save you money. And why do I say that? The mental health professional comes in. If the mental health professional were not there and we're at a meeting, we're hashing out the parenting plan with two attorneys, and it's a lot more expensive than saying, does it make sense that we table this to the next meeting and the two of you meet separately with the mental health professional and work it out? Big money save. In addition, especially the longer the marriage, the more emotional it is. And you can walk into it all you want saying, no, we're not going to have emotional issues, but you do. We'll do the same thing. We'll say, does it make sense we table this and let you discuss it with the mental health professional? Likewise, with a financial professional, your client, Donna, may not agree with financial what-if reports, financial scenarios that I prepare. But if we have a financial neutral, instead of you doing it and charging and me doing it and charging, the financial neutral does it, and the parties feel better about it, and it saves them a lot of money.
I agree. One of the things that the team members really can work with the clients on is not duplicating costs. So I'm not going to do your financial analysis if we have a financial neutral on the team. I certainly can absorb the emotions as well as the coach can. And the coach, that applies to me too. I've had one or two coaches make me walk around the building. So anytime that they can smooth that process, make that team more effective, make the meeting go more efficiently, that saves you a tremendous amount of money. But keep in mind, one day in court, $3,000. That's a lot of meetings, Bob, don't you think?
You said that right as I muted myself. Yes, I agree with you.
Thank you, Al.
All right, thank you. Thank you both. So we heard from the two attorneys, and they're obviously talking about the different team players, but let's let the team players speak for themselves. Let's hear from the mental health professional, Laura. Why is having a mental health professional important to the collaborative process?
It's a really important question, and one that's helpful to try and answer, and I'll do my best here. Oftentimes people hear mental health professional and think to themselves, I don't have any mental health problems. So my name gets changed, or my title gets changed around quite a bit. Sometimes I'm mental health neutral. That's an important piece, the neutral word. Other times I'm a parent or a family specialist, and other times I'm a divorce coach. So all those words are interchangeable for what I do. My role in, first and foremost, my role is not to be a therapist. I am not working to help people manage personal emotional issues. I'm there to help the team and both of the parties come up with agreements that are durable and that are best for them. In my psychotherapy world, I am adept and oftentimes have to diagnose people. In this process, there's no diagnosing anyone, there's no blaming anyone, there's no pointing fingers. I'm really using my clinical skills in my professional training, my experience working in collaborative divorce and other components of divorce, using those clinical skills to help get to an outcome and a resolution. So my role and what I actually do in collaborative divorce is I act as a facilitator and a manager and a timekeeper. And most importantly, divorce is a very emotional experience. No one gets married saying, I'm going to get divorced. And there's all sorts of emotion that is present. And being able to have someone in the room talking with people about how to either reduce their emotional reactivity, how they can communicate with their partner better, how to engage in having fruitful and helpful conversations to get to resolutions is really the biggest component of my role. So I really manage a lot of the emotion, both in small meetings between myself and both parties, particularly if there are children involved, and I'll talk about that in a moment, but also in our larger team meetings. I'm really looking at and taking the temperature of the room and making sure that everybody is not only feeling comfortable. One is to reduce the stress of going into these meetings. So we try and make things comfortable and create dialogue with each other. But it's also to recognize if someone's having a hard time, and that could be one or both of the attorneys, certainly, and it could be the parties, and it could be the financial, or it could even be me. So I'm really looking at monitoring the emotion and helping to keep it as calm and as stable as possible. I keep things on track. I look at the pace of things and make sure that everybody's understanding some of the acronyms that might get thrown around. I often stop and say, well, what do those initials mean? And then, as both attorneys have talked about, Donna and Bob have both talked about, we talk about interests and goals, and we want to help the clients, help the families make their own decisions, come to their own agreements about their families, because they are the experts in their own family. They are the experts on their children. They are the experts on their finances. They are the experts, and they know what's going to be best for them. And so we really empower people to go through this process in a dignified, peaceful, private manner and make those agreements themselves so that they are feeling that they're in charge because they should be, and not somebody else. I also help with communication between the parties and help them understand that they're reconfiguring their relationship. The relationship that was husband and wife is now changing to something different. And if there are children involved, reconfiguring that relationship is going from a parenting relationship to a co-parenting relationship. And that takes a fair amount of time. It takes a mindset change, and it's hard. And so we talk about communication patterns that are healthy and helpful. And we try and get rid of old communication patterns that aren't helpful and really retool this new co-parenting relationship into what will most benefit the children and the entire family itself. So I think that gives a general idea of why I'm present in and why I do what I do. I'm passionate about the collaborative divorce process. I believe in it so strongly because I've seen people transform their relationships, coming into something with a lot of anger or resentment, or a lot of sadness and grief, and being able to come to a place of acceptance and move along in their divorce process and set them up for a healthy post-divorce relationship.
All right, thank you, Laura. I know you talked about your work with families, but can you talk a little bit more specifically about how a mental health coach can facilitate a healthy relationship between parents and children?
Absolutely. So those of us who are trained in this area, we have a extensive training in child development, in family systems, and also know what we know through experience and training about divorce. So we can take all of our clinical and all of our training knowledge and bring it to families who are changing their relationship. So we can talk about the teenager or the 2-year-old in a way where we understand development, we understand developmental process, and we also understand how families function and how family systems work. Obviously, if we're working with a family on a parenting plan, which is just briefly, a parenting plan includes things like a weekly access schedule, where are the children going to be, which nights of the week, and holiday schedules, and how are families going to navigate those difficult transitions and create new traditions and new things for their families. So in that work, we talk about the children, and we talk about how both parents can really support one another in being a positive co-parent. Children who are blessed to have 2 parents, whether it's 2 moms, 2 dads, or a mom and a dad, the message is always, you get to love mommy, you get to love daddy, mommy gets to love you, daddy gets to love you. And we work on helping parents support each other and their relationship, not only between themselves as parents, but also between themselves and their kids. I'm not sure, did that answer it well enough?
Yes,
Anybody want to jump in?
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Thank you. Thank you. So we spent some time talking about the attorneys and the mental health professional. Let's not forget the financial neutral here. And so without further ado, Sophie, if you can talk to us about why is having a financial neutral important to the collaborative process?
Yes, so when we divorce, we are usually often very scared, especially about the finances. The finances create a lot of stress, and sometimes it's because we don't understand what's going on. We don't understand how it works. We don't trust the other person. So the financial neutral is really here as a multifaceted person. So we do help in the financial process, the divorce and the financial side. So we really try to act as a bridge between the parties who actually do not understand so much, and they can feel overwhelmed, and it can actually stop the divorce process because they just don't understand. So really here to actually help them with the financial, educate them, and to bring them up to speed. We also, as Donna was saying, we are the only one who's preparing the finances. So it's good. It's because like that, we bring trust in the process. If you don't trust the husband or the wife, I am here to ask a hard question. If you think there is something fishy or something you just really don't know, you want to know, but you really would never dare to really ask. So I am as well acting at the bridge on that side. But what we really do as well to help the team from the financial neutral point of view is we help to collect all the financial documents. So we help to prepare the financial affidavit. So we help with collecting the data and help the clients to prepare their budget. The budget is a very important piece, as when we're gonna negotiate, we're gonna just start working on need-based approach. So we have to figure it out what we need. I also, like as a financial neutral, you also run a simulation that helps the clients to negotiate who gets what and how it impacts them. And then we also run like a support alimony scenarios. That is to help the conversation between parties, to help them decide how much and how much and for how long. The true benefit of having a neutral, of course, is like establishing like transparency, bringing trust in the process, demystifying the financial impact of what does it mean? Do I make this decision? Helping like running the scenarios, as well as centralizing the process. So not everybody is playing with their own numbers, only one person running all the scenarios. And like that, we speak all the same language. I mean, I'm French, so I probably speak a different language than you guys. But so that's what our role as a financial neutral in the collaborative process. I am. Yes, if anyone wants to jump in, if I may have missed something.
Oh, thank you. I think that explains
Sophie,
it.
you know what I like so much about dealing with the financial neutral is
Yeah.
that we very often get, especially when we're talking about goals, we get caught up in theories and we get caught up in ideas. And what you're able to do is in real time, right there in the meeting, you're able to take all those theories and reduce them. You were talking about how you do these projections and you work with the division of assets and support. You actually bring it down to the concrete level. So when clients, I might talk about the theories of support, but you put it down into numbers and they can say, oh, I can live with that, or no, I can't. And the other thing that you do, which I think is very important, is you help the clients to move forward to the future.
Yeah.
Because they are often thinking about, how am I going to pay the mortgage next week? But we're all thinking about what's going to happen 3, 5, 10 years from now. And so you talked about the bridge. I like that illustration. That's a good one. You're a bridge for me between where they are right now and helping them to move forward to think about their future, which is really what's they're going to be satisfied with their divorce. It's because they plan their future.
And I think as well, they need to understand. I think like really what's going on is sometimes there's really I notice there's often a two-speed approach in couples.
Yes.
And when you don't have the financial role, you just don't dare. You don't know what's going on. You don't dare to ask the questions. And you need someone not to be your advocate, but actually to be the neutral and just to support the whole process to move forward, but as well for yourself to be confident in your decisions.
There's a whole other type of case that the financial neutral is absolutely imperative that we can accomplish that would not happen in a standard traditional case. And that is that very often the parties are not on a level playing field as far as their financial knowledge. And whoever has less financial knowledge, when they hear the other professionals and the other spouse talking about a financial issue and they don't understand it, they're not going to be very interested in trying to negotiate because the fix is in. They're the ones who don't know something. So very often the financial neutral has a very different role, and that is to help the party that doesn't understand the finances get up so that it's a level playing field and that person can negotiate along with the other party.
No, yeah, I 100% agree with that. I did notice as well that a lot of time people, because they do not know what's going on, they are surprised when they discover debt, or they just are surprised, like, where did the money go? So sometimes they do need the explanation. They do need to understand what happened. And it's part as well of our role is like, we're here to support the process in the whole length. So if they need that to find some conclusion and say, okay, I get it, the money went there, then we're here to just be there until they feel confident and they feel satisfied, and then they can move forward. Otherwise, they just got stuck. And a client stuck, meaning a divorce. The divorce process is stuck. So that's why I love the collaborative process. It's because we're all acting as like literally at those wheels, just feeding each other.
So Al, what else can we help you with tonight?
Well, I think that pretty much sums it all up. What I will say, though, is that if we didn't learn anything tonight, that every divorce has 3 major issues. It has legal issues, it has financial issues, and emotional issues. And the reason why the collaborative divorce is the right approach to go about attacking those issues, addressing those issues, is because we have a triangle offense. We have a three-team approach, three-person approach. And so having the attorneys deal with the legal issues, having the mental health professionals deal with emotional issues, and having the financial neutral deal with the financial issues is the best way to go. And us at the CCDG, the Collaborative Divorce Group, we have professionals that specialize in this, and this is what we do. We're especially trained, and we handle these cases with dignity and respect, just like Divorce with Respect Week stands for. So I want to thank my panelists for participating tonight. I want to thank anyone else who's watched this presentation, and we're looking forward to seeing you all in the future. All right.
Thank you, Al.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Al.